What's up, guys? Boston Banner Band, late night with Bree. So let's talk about it. The Celtics just played the Hornets, and the Hornets coming into this game were 24-25, eighth in the East. No Cody Zeller and no Tony Parker tonight. As well as for the Celtics, Kyrie Irving sitting out back-to-back nights here. Is it a surprise that they got back-to-back wins without Kyrie Irving in the lineup? We'll talk more about that a little bit later, but let's recap what happened tonight. So it was a little bit close at first. The Celtics were only leading by 4 at half, but then all of a sudden, Kyrie's out, and now they don't have third quarter problems anymore because they went off in the third quarter. They outscored the Hornets 35-16 in the third quarter. And they went from a 4-point lead to a 31-point lead. Crazy. Anyways, Brown. Let's talk about Jaylen Brown, okay? I have these crazy stats for you about Jaylen Brown. And in the last 15 games that he has played, his field goal percentage went from 42% to 50%. That's a big jump. As well as in the first 19 games that he has ever started in his career, okay? He was 0 for 20-plus point games, okay? He had 0 in the first 19 games that he played. However, in the first 19 games that he has been coming off of the bench this year, so remember, he was a starter, but they put him back on the bench. He has now had 9 20-plus point games while coming off the bench in his first 19 games coming off the bench. Did Brad find his fit? Did Brad figure out that he's a situational player that needs to come off the bench and be with that rotation to get the most production out of him? Yeah, safe to say I think Jaylen Brown is permanently going to be a bench player along with Gordon Hayward. So Gordon Hayward, the issue with him is that the last 2 games that he has played, not including this one, so the game against the Warriors and this last game against the Nets, one game with Irving playing with him and one game without Irving playing with him, he only had 2 points. And tonight he did a little bit better. He had 12 points. I mean, I don't know what to say about Gordon Hayward. It's like one night he's having almost a triple-double and doing really well, and then other nights he just doesn't show up and he's non-existent. Tonight, however, he had a couple dunks. People started to think, oh, is this back to the Gordon Hayward that we saw from Utah? But I don't know. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to come back from an injury like that. But at the same time, if you look at Paul George, he came back from that same injury and he did phenomenal the year that he came back. But at the same time, you got to look at it. Different situations, different teams, different players, different people. Paul George, I'm sure, never came off the bench. He probably went right back to starting. Gordon Hayward is now coming off the bench, so you can't expect starting minutes and starting points from a bench player with bench minutes and bench points. So the expectations of Gordon Hayward need to be adjusted a little bit. Again, another 30-plus team assist night. That is 17 on the season, and that is one of the longest stretches. So the last time they did 17-plus, 30-plus team assists in a season was back when Larry Bird was playing. So seeing the ball moving better, the communication is better, the confidence is there, the chemistry is better when Kyrie Irving is on the bench. And I don't want to keep saying it like it's a broken record, but I mean, stats don't lie. He has now missed 8 games this year, and they are 6-2 with him on the bench. And they have won 10 out of their last 11 home games this January. This January has been all home games. Crazy. So they're doing so much better at home. They're actually 24-3 in the last 27 home games without Kyrie Irving, and that does not include the game against Charlotte, coincidentally, last year when he left the game after only playing 2 minutes. That does not include that. If that included that, it would be 25-3. But since he played for 2 minutes, you can't really say that he wasn't in the game. But anyways, crazy thing that happened tonight in Rozier's post-game interview. He was asked, geez, it seems like you guys play a lot better when Kyrie Irving isn't on the court. You guys are more fired up. What's the deal? And he said, it's like watching a show playing alongside Kyrie Irving. He's just so great that we sit back and watch him perform, and we watch him go crazy. And without him, we don't really know where the points are going to come from. So everyone has to step up and everyone has to contribute. Perfect example tonight. 12 players played on the roster tonight in this game. And all 12 players scored, contributed, assisted, put up numbers, blocks, assists. They are actually the only team that are top 5 in both steals and blocks in the NBA. So that's a really cool stat because Al Horford's been really stepping it up. Brad Stevens said that Al Horford, now that he's back full strength and doesn't have those knee problems so much anymore, that he's been a big help, a big contributor. He had 6 blocks the last game. And that's a career high for him. It matched his career high of 6 blocks. We really wanted him to get that 7th block, but they took it away from him. He had 2 blocks again tonight, doing really well on the boards. Let's talk about the numbers tonight. Morris, 15 points. Tatum, 20 points, and had a crazy alley-oop dunk from Terry Rozier. It was phenomenal. Best thing I saw all night. Horford, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Rozier, double-double, 17 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds. So again, getting those assists up, that's really important as a point guard to get everybody contributing. You're the facilitator. Your job is to set it up, set up plays. Yes, sometimes you take those plays for yourself and you put up the numbers yourself, but really important to get those assists up there. So it's really good that Rozier did that in his start tonight. Hayward had 12 points. Again, nothing great, but at least it wasn't 2 points. Also, Jaylen Brown off the bench, 24 points and 10 rebounds. Double-double for Jaylen Brown. And I already told you his recent stats and how he's improved in the last 15 to 20 games. And I think that it was that motivation of him coming off the bench that he's trying to prove himself and that he's important and that he's a good player and that he's worthy. And I think that Brad does a really good job at silencing egos and finding out what rotation works and what combination works, because it's just one of those things where you can't, like, if you have like all-stars, like for example, if you're considering Gordon Hayward an all-star because he's got the max contract, this, that, the other thing, and he was so good for Utah for that 1 year where he averaged 21 points, 23 points, whatever it was. You can't succumb to egos, because egos isn't going to help you win a game. And also, one all-star isn't going to help you win a game. I've had a lot of people argue with me about Kyrie Irving and that the Celtics will go nowhere without Kyrie Irving, but I think everyone keeps forgetting the fact that they literally went to the finals, or the Eastern Conference Finals, against LeBron James and went on a 7-game series against LeBron James and was 1 win away from going to the finals against the Golden State Warriors, and they did that without any all-stars. If you really want to talk about the value of all-stars, please look at James Harden, okay? Even when he has CP3 and has that help, they still aren't a winning organization. Maybe they win in the regular season, but they flake and they flop and they fall in the playoffs. You can't just have one guy. It's a team sport. And I have all these people saying, oh, well, it's not really a team sport because it's the NBA, this, that, the other thing. No, that's not true. Look at Golden State, okay? Yes, they are literally the Monstars. They have depth upon depth upon depth upon superstars, all-stars, whatever you want to call it. So loaded, so fully depth. But they know how to play with each other. They know who's going to get buckets, who's going to take the back seat, who's going to get assists. They don't really have such good of defense, but their offense is so crazy that they don't really need defense, which is, I think, a cop-out, but whatever. Their games are so high scoring and so fluid and they're so on all the time that Kerr does a good job of knowing how to control all that talent. And the thing that's I think is wrong with the Celtics is they all take a back seat to Kyrie Irving. And I don't know. I just honestly, like, exactly what it was out of Rozier's mouth. We all sit back and watch because he's the one expected to put up the points. But look, when he's out, there's 6 players in double figures. 12 players tonight put up numbers. It's like you wouldn't have had that if Irving was in the lineup. And I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I just think that he doesn't know how to play a team sport. I think he's very good individually. I think that he bit off more that he could chew. I think he asked for more than he could handle. I think that he saw LeBron and he didn't want to be LeBron, but he wanted to have that power and that leadership like LeBron, and he doesn't really know how to command a team. And maybe because he's still young, he's 26, it's hard to take control. But I don't know. I also think that maybe him, again, calling LeBron, and then now there's rumors and talks that he would be willing to be on a team again with LeBron, and coincidentally that's in LA where, now all of a sudden also Kyrie Irving wants to be a movie star and make movies, and now he has another movie that he's producing and also starring in coming out soon. And it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, what's your focus? Like, are you here to play a game with everyone, or are you here to do a job? Like, he needs to figure it out. I get that his team looks up to him, but, I think he's falling short. Same thing with Gordon Hayward. They're both, not meeting expectations whatsoever. The bar was set so high for the Celtics because everyone was full strength and everyone was saying that they were 100% shoo-in to be out of the East, the number 1 seed in the East. And that's not the case. That's very clear. But again, you don't need to be the 1 seed to get out of the East. So they have an uphill battle. And also another thing that I was finding very interesting was the lack of use of Tice and Williams and any of the guys that have size. It's funny because I've been listening to Brad Stevens pregame and postgame, and every time that they have lost a game, he blames it mostly on size, and he always says, we were small and these teams are bigger than us and we're a small lineup, we're small. But when you're intentionally not playing these players that are your bigs, what do you expect? There's really no excuse. You need to be a little bit more risky and ballsy and play these players, give them a bit more minutes, give them more opportunities to be the bigs for you and get those blocks for you. Yes, Baines had a broken hand. He was out for 4 weeks. He's back now. But again, not really utilizing your guys with the minutes that much. So don't complain about it if you're not willing to put them in and give them a shot. So now the Celtics have a day off tomorrow. They travel to New York to face the Knicks. The Knicks is the worst team in the East. I don't even know if they have 10 wins yet. I have no idea. Couldn't even tell you if Porzingis is alive. Haven't seen that guy in about a year and a half, 2 years. Like, what's up? However, the Celtics have been struggling on the road, which is weird because last year they were 28-13 for road wins and losses. Last year, that was their record for on the road. And currently, right now, they have 13 losses already, and that's halfway through the season. So if they want to have a similar record or the same record that they did last year, they cannot lose another road game. And it's funny because it kind of flip-flops because they weren't really good at home last year. They had a mediocre record at home but had a better road record. But now it's the other way around. And again, they had the whole month of January home. They just had 11 home games in a month. So that's kind of crazy. So the schedule is a little odd this year. It's a little home heavy, but that's fine because they're doing better at home, which is weird, which is against their statistics. So hopefully these last 2 wins gave them the confidence and the boost to go to New York and seriously beat the Knicks, because my thing with the Celtics is they like to rise to the occasion and rise to tough teams. They only lost by 4, which I called, by the way, if you saw my Boston Banner Bound that I did on Friday, against the Golden State Warriors, which is the best team in the entire NBA, hands down, without a doubt. There's no question there. So if they can only lose by 4 to Golden State and are hanging in there pretty well with top tier teams in the NBA, then they can't take teams like the Knicks and the Suns and all these other teams that are terrible lightly, because those teams that have nothing to lose will come at you hard and they will play hard like they have nothing to lose. And typically they'll come out with the win, because when the Celtics take their foot off the gas in the third quarter, typically, those teams will rise to the occasion of them and will get the win and sneak right out from under them and get the win. The Celtics need to learn that they can't just rise to the occasion with these superior teams, and they need to play with the same energy with these inferior teams, because they need to worry about their record now. They need to get higher up in the standings. Obviously, with the Pacers losing Oladipo, they're hanging in there. They're doing really well. They have a good team, but I have a feeling they're going to drop. Celtics are going to flip-flop, and Celtics will end the season in the 3rd spot, right behind I think the Raptors are going to reclaim the 1 spot. The Bucks are going to drop to the 2. Celtics will be 3. Pacers will be 4, or the Sixers will be 4. Sixers will be 4 because they're full strength right now. They got Embiid. I hate Simmons, but I guess I'll say that they have Simmons. And then they have Jimmy Butler. So Sixers will be 4, and Pacers will drop down to the 5. That's my prediction. We'll see how that goes. I will come back on Friday after the game, and I will do another live. Let me know what you think. Let me know any topics you want me to discuss, and I will keep working on doing this stuff live for you guys. I will see you Friday.